The Eagles 2025 schedule is finally released. We're going to be going through it week by week. Is this a tough schedule? Is this a more balanced schedule? Are we in favor of it to repeat this year? We're going to find out and kind of talk about it a little bit. So let's get straight into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope it's having a fantastic day today. So we're going to be talking about the Eagles schedule that was just released and a lot to look forward to. Get your tickets because I know the Eagles prices are going. People are selling their tickets for a lot of money right now. And I mean, the top seat is like $300. I'm not even kidding. So it's going to get kind of crazy. But to kind of go over the schedule real quick and my differences on, is it balanced enough? Is it a tough schedule? I think it definitely is. It's well deserving because the Eagles won the Super Bowl and a lot going on here. So the first week of this season, obviously, is the opening on Thursday night. The Super Bowl champions face the Dallas Cowboys on September 4th, 8:20 p.m. So I count this as a primetime game regardless, but we'll get into that later. Week two, your next 3 weeks after the Dallas game, this is where it's going to get tough immediately. Okay, September 14th against the Kansas City Chiefs, America's Game of the Week at 4:25. Then you have the LA Rams, okay, at September 21st at home at 1 o'clock, which is good. So they'll be home for that game. Week 4, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers away. It seems like we're always playing in Tampa at September 28th, 1 o'clock. So the Eagles will be away for week 4. You're home against the Broncos, very winnable. You're away against the Giants at MetLife, Thursday Night Football, 8:15. Definitely can win that game. The Vikings, October 19th at Minnesota, 1 o'clock. Then you face the Giants again, October 26th at 1 o'clock at home. And then you have your bye week, which I think is a very balanced bye week between week 9 to week 11. I think those are perfect bye weeks, and I think that's a nice split within the middle of the season for the Eagles to really get set for the next 2 weeks, because this is where things get a little hairy as well. You're coming off a bye week, getting prepared to face Green Bay on Monday Night Football, November 10th, which should be a pretty good game. And then after Monday Night Football, week 10 to week 11 against the Detroit Lions, November 16th on Sunday night. So you have Monday night now to Sunday night. So it's a little bit of a short week, to prepare. But I think the Eagles have just enough time for that. It's not like it's Monday to Thursday. It's Monday to Sunday. So it's not too bad. It could be a lot worse. So the Eagles don't really have that Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football within a few days type of short week on their schedule. So at least they weren't given that. So these two matchups right here, Green Bay and Detroit, both primetime games, will be some good ones for the Philadelphia Eagles. Week 12 away against Dallas at 4:25. You have the Chicago Bears week 13, November 28th at 3 p.m. This is the Black Friday game. Now, I'm not sure if this is the only game or if there's a couple games going into this, so I'm not really sure about that, but that is your Friday game at 3 p.m. December 8th, week 14 against the Los Angeles Chargers. It is a Monday Night Football game in LA. Pretty much this is a home game. I mean, it is, because I mean, when the Eagles have to travel to the Chargers, it's always a home game over there. So I really count that mostly as a home game going forward for Monday Night Football. So that's your week 14. Week 15, you're home against the Raiders. I think they could win that game at 1 o'clock. And then week 16, finally you're facing the Washington Commanders. Now, December 20th, okay, it's a Saturday game, so it's going to be a 4:30 or an 8 o'clock game. Usually the last 3 games, they can end up flexing because of, just the playoffs in general, seeding and things like that. If the first and second seed is already locked up, if the Eagles are locked up by that point, we'll see what happens, but most likely could be flexed to a primetime game, maybe if the stakes are high and it's going to be really important by that time. So that will be the Saturday. We'll find out later in the season what happens. Week 17, December 28th, we'll be traveling to Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bills at 4:25, America's Game of the Week. And then the last game will be against the Washington Commanders at home, which the Eagles will probably not need that game. They'll probably sit out a lot of guys, most likely, and and rest up for the playoffs, most likely. It is still to be determined. That is most likely normal for a lot of the last games of the season. So what do I like about it? What do I dislike about it? honestly, I feel really good about it. Number one, we're talking about primetime games. I'm not a big fan of primetime games myself, but realistically, you have about five. Okay, you have five primetime games. I count the September 4th game against Dallas, the first game on Thursday, a primetime game, because it pretty much is. They don't really list it as a primetime officially. So you're talking five primetime games, potentially six, okay, because of the flex for Washington on December 20th for the Week 16 game, if that's going to be what, is going to happen with the flex there. The Eagles bye week is really important too because, it's nice to have a bye week, not at week 5, week 6. Like you have a bye week 9. Would have been a little bit better, maybe week 10, maybe week 11. But I think 9 is a pretty safe bye week because you're going on a bye week, get guys healthy because you have a very tough 2 games coming up, obviously against Green Bay on Monday night in Green Bay and home against the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football. So I think the bye week is absolutely perfect for where it's placed in the schedule. And usually if you win a Super Bowl or in the Super Bowl, usually your bye weeks are pretty good. They're pretty much rewarding the next year for the next season. I'm not going to say if this is good or bad, but not having back-to-back home games, okay? Now, the Eagles were pretty good on the road last year, and if they keep this up, they're still going to be really good on the road this year. Doesn't really matter. So I don't really take this into account too much to be home too much, but when you really look at it, it's home, away, home, away, home, away, away, home, bye week, away, home, away, home, away, home, away, away, home. So you're not consistently. So the Eagles will be traveling a lot, and having the tough schedule, traveling back and forth. And it takes a toll on the team for a team that travels a lot. But I think the Eagles are pretty much prepared for this. I'm really not thinking of this as a weakness. Maybe you guys think so. But for me, I don't really think of this as a weakness at all. So I don't really mind the no back-to-back home games. Now, the next thing is knocking off the rust. And I think that's pretty important because, the Eagles go into the preseason games and there's only 3 preseason games. And the starters don't necessarily get a lot of playing time. Okay, practice is practice at the end of the day. When you get game time minutes, it's game time minutes. I'm not worried about it. They did it with the Eagles last year. The year before that, they seemed like they were fine. But, the Eagles had a little bit of a struggle before the bye week last year, before the bye week happened. And then the Eagles totally changed on offense. They changed on defense. Things really started to change around post bye week and how they were playing. And the coaching was just a lot better. So, knocking off the rust is going to be really important here, and it might take a few weeks. But you're going to have KC, you're going to have the Chargers. Sorry, you're going to have the Rams, you're going to have KC, the Rams, you're going to have Tampa Bay. Okay, not a perfect 3 teams that you're going to have to face this early in the season. So hopefully you're going to knock off the rust a little bit faster. I don't think things are going to look as perfect, but I thought it was funny too because on NFL Network they had us losing those 3 games like immediately, and they were like, "Oh well, the Eagles, they sort of struggle in the beginning of the year, and and then they start to play good later on." It's like, bro, if they lose those 3 games straight, I am really going to be upset. Like there's no doubt about it. Like I will be realistically upset if they lose KC, Rams, and I mean, number one, I think Tampa Bay needs. I think we need to give Tampa a little bit of payback, a little bit more of payback. You know what I mean? So. But you're going to be in KC, and you're going to be, and the Rams are going to be one of the best teams in the NFC this year. They have a very good team this year with Matthew Stafford, still a good quarterback. So there's a lot on the table right now regarding those 3 games. So knocking off the rust is going to be really important, and they're acting as if these other teams don't have to knock off the rust either, like KC or the Rams or anybody that's on our schedule. Like who's going to look perfect beginning of the season? Probably not a lot of teams. Okay. And this is just the normal thing that happens. So I really worry. I wouldn't worry about that much if they can get at least 2 out of 3 games won by that time, because I could see them having 1 loss before the bye, which we'll get into in the next segment. But that's pretty much where I have it. So how many games won? How many games lost? I hate doing these. And if you know me by now, like I can't stand doing these type of schedule predictions because everything has to go perfect in a perfect world in a perfect season. If the Eagles are healthy and the coaching is great, and we still have a lot of things to look at when it comes to our coaching. But I feel like before the bye week, before week 9, I feel like they could lose maybe 1 or 2 games. I think one of the 3 games between weeks 2 to week 4, they'll probably lose one of those. I would have to say you're due a loss somewhere. When it comes to this season, I say 1 or 2 losses there maybe, and then post bye week, I mean, realistically, Green Bay and Detroit, I think they can really take care of those 2 teams, but they can always lose one of those. Okay, so realistically, I think it's between 2 to 3 losses on the year, which I think will be between 12 to 14 wins on the season. I would say probably 13 to 14 if I would really to correct that number a little bit. So I feel like they're going to do pretty good. I feel like they'll shut out the Giants. I feel like they will shut out the Cowboys. And Washington potentially think they'll split because obviously that last game, I think they're going to sit guys out because they already seeded, and I think they're going to be good for the playoffs, and they'll probably lose that game just because of that reason. But you never know. Maybe Washington will be sitting out players as well for that last game. And not worried about seeding. Maybe they're already clinched the playoffs and they're not worried about seeding at that point, and they want to get guys healthy. So that last game is probably going to be a loss regardless here. So I feel pretty good about, just where we're at between, inside the division and what we really have to worry about there. So, and overall about the schedule, I think it's a very balanced schedule. Like you don't have too much in the beginning. Like I think you have a nice chunk in the beginning. Like you go to, Dallas comes to Philadelphia, get a nice easy win there. And I say easy not to be arrogant. I say easy as in they should beat them. Okay. As even if we play bad and we're knocking off rust, we should beat the Dallas Cowboys, dropping a banner right in front of their face to remind them who the champions are. So they should win that game, kind of get their juices kicking a little bit for those next 3 really tough games coming up. And then I think things will start to smooth out when they hit Denver, the Giants, Minnesota, the Giants again, and then going into the bye week, coming off the bye week, getting some rest, clearing their minds, getting, resetting, charging up the batteries a little bit, and then hitting Green Bay, and then hitting obviously the Detroit Lions at home too. So I think that's a perfect bye week to go into that post bye week with those 2 tough games coming up, and then it's Dallas, then it's Chicago, LA Chargers, Raiders, and then once you get to that Washington game, we're going to see really where we're at. So I think there's a nice balance. There's a little chunk here, and then some teams we can get by. Then a bye week, then a couple here, and then a little bit of a smooth transition for a few more weeks. So I think it is very balanced throughout this entire schedule, and I feel really good about it. So other than that, I love it. I think it's great. I have no issue with it, and I hope everybody takes over the other stadiums and does a really good job there. And we're gonna be rocking and ready for this season before we know it'll be here. So let me know what you guys think about the schedule in general. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Is it balanced? Is it not balanced? What are you worried about? How many wins? How many losses? You tell me. I feel pretty good about it. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. We'll be talking about this more in the coming days. So you guys have a fantastic day. I will see you guys on the next one. Remember, Shakes what up, follow slide. Peace out, guys. Peace.